Jeff Rowe from Two Hacks Garage. Back at Jimmy's shop, back on Project Jumpin' Jack Flash. Previous videos, we've gotten a whole lot of these small things done, parachute mount, even the shifter handle, just a lot of small things. Why are we kind of, it seems like, all over the place? Well, we're brainstorming off camera of what needs to be welded on this car before it gets painted. I'm making a real hard push so we can get this car, everything welded on it, get it painted, and get that set aside so we can focus on rebuilding the rear end, rebuilding the brakes, and obviously building that small block power Hillborn injected engine that's going to run on methanol and the occasional dose of nitro. So this is kind of back on the small things. We're not jumping all over the place. There is a method to our mayhem, if you want to call it, our madness. Jimmy's in the other room working on cutting a piece of pipe. And we do have the aluminum to make the body panels and all that for this. And one thing we need to do is get some more Dzus fasteners in here on the bottom of the chassis and back here for a seat. So really, we don't know what we're doing when it comes to bending metal, but we've been researching a lot. We got some help from Conrad Sheet Metal in Bloomington. And so what we really need to do is focus on getting all those little things welded in. So what we're going to do is we've been using some cardboard for a template to see where we need to mock things up. But we do know we need to put in another tubing for the chassis here that's going to level out the seat, tilt it back. So we got to get that in place. We do know there's a whole bunch of other little things we need to weld in. We're kind of going through it. Jimmy's done this for years. He knows what he's doing. It's all coming back to him.
No,
He says, no, he doesn't. Yeah, he does. But what we need to do is get all those little things welded into place. We're not all over the place. There is a method to our mayhem, our madness, whatever you want to call it. But what we're going to do is just work on a lot of those little things so we can get much closer to getting this thing sandblasted one more time and painted. With that,
I don't admit to knowing nothing because it's called plausible deniability.
Plausible deniability. Jimmy's a figment of our imagination. I made him through AI. He doesn't really exist. But so the whole thing is we're just trying to get everything welded into place. I did talk about in previous videos, we still need to flip this over and do some other things with that. So finish welding, getting some drain plugs put in. But we're trying to get everything done that we can now. So when we're ready to paint it, it's just sandblast it, lay down some awesome, what's called ruined retina red metal flake paint with an awesome wet clear on it. We're just really busting our butts, guys, to get to that point. So it's a lot of little things all over the place, but not really. With that, guys, we're going to get to work so we can get this chassis one step closer to being painted. See you soon. All right, what I was talking about with the seat bar is if you look at the actual chassis itself where it's going to sit, it's level now. And when you come back here, this is actually kicked up. So what we need to do to get Dzus fasteners in and all that and get us closer to be able to paint, we need to somewhat form a seat, which we've been using a template just as a generic piece there to kind of know where we need to go with things. But if you look at this piece of chassis tubing here, it's lower and it's kicked down. What you don't want is your seat kicked down. You want it kicked a little bit this way. So Jimmy and I used level on a piece of wood to simulate a bar. And what we did is we found level and we kicked it back up. We made a mark. We know where we're at, where we need to be with that piece of tubing for the bottom of the seat. And what we're going to do is he's cutting it. We got to notch it, and we got to get that welded into place. So with that, you know what, guys? I'm rambling. Jimmy's working. We need to get to work. See you in a few. if you're wondering what we're doing, so if you notice we got that seat bar in here, we're using this cardboard to just form a very rough template of actually where the actual back of the seat panel is going to be. We do need to get that in so we can determine where Dzus fasteners are going to go. And also, Jimmy and I want to get a seat formed. So what we did is, this is not the complete template of it. We're just getting the radius, and he's going to take zip ties. We're going to zip tie this to the actual chassis itself, and we'll determine our pattern. We'll determine where we need to put the fasteners, all that fun jazz. Cardboard and zip ties are our friend. So we're going to get working on that. Got to give a big shout out to Dennis for helping out.
I've never done this before.
Yeah, we've never done this before.
I have never done this before. I'm good with flat panels, but not this. But luckily, I got one guy at the sheet metal shop going to help me do this.
Yep.
This, I'm not even going to attempt to drive him nuts with that. But maybe we might get done later this week after he gets me out of the padded room at the hospital, because it's going to drive me crazy.
It is driving us crazy, but we're going to get it. Like I said, cardboard comes in handy. Zip ties come in handy. It's all fun and games until Jimmy ends up in the padded room. So what Jimmy and I are doing now, like I said, method to our madness. We still have a lot to weld onto this chassis, but we also have to start planning out the rest of our sheet metal. Those panels that you saw were old panels in the back. We were just looking for radiuses. So we do know our cardboard template's going to work. We got to make a new one that's going to bring it up. We know that we're going to have to weld in a lot of different stuff, but what we're doing is we're kind of planning ahead here, because Conrad Sheet Metal is going to help us bend the radius for our cowl. And we know they have a 48-inch bit with a 4-inch radius. We know they have a 48-inch.
No, it's an 8-inch radius.
8-inch radius, but we know they have a 48-inch roll machine. So we're looking at, from the front of our motor plate, lipped over a little bit back here, of where that's going to be, because we know that's coming up soon. So right now it's kind of a brainstorming session on our metal. We know that we're going to have enough this way over that way they can bend. Our side panels, since they're flat, are going to be easy, but the hard parts that we're seeing, since we've never done this before, is the seat bucket, and the cowl itself. So we're going to get back to brainstorming. Just wanted to show you guys where we're at with that now. It's a lot of work, got a lot of stuff to plan ahead, and we've got 2 sheets of 4x10 040 aluminum to work with, and we're going to see what we can do down the road. With that, guys, we're going to get back to work.
I'm going to get my room ready, or reserved at the rubber room at the hospital.
Yeah.
When we get it done, I'll be checking in.
Yeah, he's going to be checking in. I'll be visiting him, probably joining him at some point. But this will drive you crazy. We're going to figure it out, though.
I think what we ought to do is, I told him, we just cut the little ears off of the nylon straps, and we just paint this thing, because it was on something. I don't know if it was tin cans or something. It was on a pallet. I think we ought to just paint the dumb thing and leave it on there, leave them circles, call it artwork.
Jimmy's losing it. I'm about ready to lose it. Back to work. All right, so this is where we're at right now. I know it's cardboard and duct tape, but that's our friend today. So this is a rough form of our actual seat base and the actual seat back. We're getting that formed so we know where we need to put all the Dzus fasteners and all that. So we're actually at a point right now where Jimmy and I, just because we know it's going to take time and we still got a whole lot of stuff to do, here pretty soon we're going to actually start trying to form the seat base and all of that. And you saw us have that roll of fabric because we are going to make this old school and actually have a padded seat in there and make it look cool. But yeah, cardboard and tape and a little bit of imagination can definitely be your friends. Jimmy and I are both going to check into the nut house soon and go crazy because this is something we've both never done. But you know what? Just a little bit of research, watch a little bit of videos, have a whole lot of fun. We'll definitely figure it out. Yeah. Oh, Jimmy's taking some measurements of my waist here so he can figure out.
No, I'm not measuring down here what you might think it is.
So he's measuring stuff out for the seat and all that fun jazz. We're thinking ahead too because what we have to do is figure out how we're going to mount a safety harness for this that I'm going to order here pretty quick so we know how to get that into place. And we still got a whole bunch more other little chassis items to do. But like I said, there is a method to our madness.
Well, I can tell you one thing. We can both fit in it.
Might not seem like that, but with that seat bucket in there, what Jimmy is measuring to make sure we both can fit in here.
Oh, yeah.
We do have a method to our madness. I know it seems like didn't get a whole lot done in this video. We didn't, because the reality is when you're building stuff like this, there's these little things like this that take a lot of time and a lot of planning. And Jimmy's going to go insane. So if anybody would like to send cards care of Crazy Jimmy, I do know that he likes steak and he likes RC Cola. So you can go ahead and send that to my P.O. Box 139, Hayworth, Illinois, 61745. With that, see you in the next one.